Germany's history isn't just about battles and borders, it's about identity. For centuries, it wasn't even a single country. It was a collection of states, empires, and ideas often clashing, sometimes uniting, and always evolving. From medieval kings and empires to two world wars, the Cold War division, and its rebirth as a modern powerhouse, Germany's journey is nothing short of incredible. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand how this one nation has impacted the world more than most. Here's the thing, Germany, as we know it today, is only about 150 years old. For most of history, it didn't exist as one country, and that caused a lot of problems, wars, rivalries, confusion, and a search for unity that led to both greatness and disaster. So, how do you even tell the story of a place that wasn't always a single place? Where do you begin when a nation has been built, broken, and rebuilt so many times? Let's go back, way back. After the fall of the Roman Empire, Europe was a chaotic patchwork of kingdoms and tribes. Out of that chaos, a powerful Germanic king named Charlemagne built an empire so large that the Pope crowned him Emperor of the Romans in the year 800. This empire would later become known as the Holy Roman Empire. Now, here's the weird part. The Holy Roman Empire wasn't really Roman or holy in the way you might think, and it definitely wasn't an empire in the traditional sense. It was more like a loose confederation of hundreds of states, duchies, cities, and tiny kingdoms all under the rule of an emperor who didn't always have full control. This messy structure lasted for centuries, and Germany, or the German-speaking world, was right at the center of it. The Holy Roman Empire struggled with internal divisions and constant power struggles. The emperor had to keep powerful nobles happy, the church had enormous influence, and local rulers often did whatever they wanted. It was politics on hard mode. In 1517, a German monk named Martin Luther nailed 95 theses to a church door in Wittenberg. He was sick of the Catholic Church's corruption and wanted reform, but instead, he sparked a revolution. The Protestant Reformation tore through the Holy Roman Empire, splitting it apart religiously and politically. Catholic versus Protestant, emperor versus princes. This division led to one of the most devastating wars in European history, the 30 Years' War. From 1618 to 1648, the empire was engulfed in bloodshed. Towns were burned, populations were wiped out, some regions lost over half their people. It was brutal. When it was over, Germany was shattered. The Peace of Westphalia ended the war but confirmed that the Holy Roman Empire was more divided than ever. No strong central government, just hundreds of little states doing their own thing. But out of that chaos, one state started to stand out. Prussia was a relatively small kingdom in northeastern Germany, but it had something other German states didn't: discipline, ambition, and a serious military. Under leaders like Frederick the Great in the 18th century, Prussia became a major power. It beat Austria, it fought France, it expanded its territory. It proved that being small didn't mean being weak. By the 1800s, as Napoleon stormed through Europe, the Holy Roman Empire was finally dissolved. It was outdated and weak. In its place came the German Confederation. But again, this wasn't a real country, just more loose cooperation. So, the big question now was, who would unite Germany, Austria or Prussia? Spoiler alert, Prussia won. Enter Otto von Bismarck, the Iron Chancellor, one of the smartest, most ruthless political minds of the 19th century. He believed Germany needed to be united, not through speeches or treaties, but through blood and iron. Bismarck led Prussia into a series of wars against Denmark, Austria, and finally France. Each war was carefully planned. Each victory brought more German states under Prussian control. And in 1871, in the Palace of Versailles, of all places, the German Empire was declared. Germany was finally a united country, and it was strong. Now ruled by Kaiser Wilhelm I, and later his grandson Wilhelm II, the new empire was industrializing fast. Trains, factories, science, and military power. Germany was on the rise. But with power comes tension. Germany's growing strength made other European powers nervous, especially Britain and France. The balance of power was shifting. Tensions exploded in 1914 when Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria was assassinated. Alliances kicked in, and suddenly, Europe was at war. Germany fought on the side of the Central Powers, alongside Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire. The war was brutal: trench warfare, gas attacks, millions dead. And by 1918, Germany had lost. The empire collapsed. Kaiser Wilhelm II fled. The Treaty of Versailles punished Germany harshly, stripping it of land, military power, and forcing it to pay huge reparations. The Weimar Republic was born, Germany's first real attempt at democracy, but it was weak, unpopular, and economically crushed. And into that mess stepped a dangerous figure. Adolf Hitler was a failed artist and World War I veteran who blamed Germany's problems on Jews, communists, and the Treaty of Versailles. His message? Restore Germany's pride, make it strong again. People were desperate, and they listened. In 1933, Hitler became chancellor. The Nazi regime quickly took total control. Freedoms were erased, propaganda ruled, and Jews were targeted. Hitler's ambitions led to another war. In 1939, Germany invaded Poland. Britain and France declared war. World War II had begun. Under Hitler, Germany conquered much of Europe in just a few years, but it also committed horrific crimes, especially the Holocaust, where 6 million Jews were murdered in concentration camps. By 1945, the tide turned. Germany was bombed, invaded, and finally defeated. Berlin fell. Hitler died by suicide, and the country was in ruins. After the war, Germany didn't just lose, it was carved up. The Allies, the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and the Soviet Union split Germany into zones. Berlin, the capital, was divided too. Soon, two Germanys were born. In the West, the Federal Republic of Germany, a democratic country supported by the West. In the East, the German Democratic Republic, a communist state controlled by the Soviets. The Berlin Wall went up in 1961, cutting families and friends in half. It became the symbol of the Cold War, a line between freedom and control. For decades, West Germany thrived, East Germany struggled. But in 1989, something incredible happened. Peaceful protests grew across East Germany. The government was collapsing. And then, on November 9, 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. People cried, people danced. East and West Germans tore down the wall together, piece by piece. Less than a year later, Germany was officially reunified. A nation, divided for 40 years, was whole again. It wasn't easy. The East was poorer, outdated, and needed a lot of help. But Germany pushed forward. Germany went from a loose medieval empire to a rising power, to the center of 2 world wars, to a divided country, to one of the strongest democracies on earth. Its history is complicated, often tragic, but deeply important. It shows us how nations can fall and how they can rebuild. Germany today is the heart of Europe. It's a global leader in industry, science, and diplomacy, but it carries the weight of its past and the lessons that came with it. If you want to keep exploring more powerful stories from history, watch this next video.